Hello, my name is Christopher Perez. My partners are John Lorray and Nelvin Chery, and today we're going to be talking about immersive reality technologies. It's a common misperception that virtual reality was created in the 1950s, but that's not accurate. It was actually started in the 19th century by panoramic paintings. These are 360-degree murals that try to envelop the viewer into a historical scene, as shown as this example here. In 1838, a man called Charles Wheatstone created the stereoscope. It takes advantage of the fact that the brain uses 3D imagery by combining 2D data from both eyes. To do this, two stereoscopic images are used inside the visor of the stereoscope in order to produce a 3D-like image. The Sensorama is the first electromechanical virtual reality system. It comprised of a system that tried to use these processes to stimulate all five senses. However, it failed simply due to it being too cumbersome, and its creator, Morton Has Lee, bit the dust. The headset was the first head-mounted display. Basically, it synced a camera with your eye movement so you can see the environment far more easily. Now, the ultimate display is a concept created by Ivan Sutherland, and it consists of the goal of blurring the line between virtual reality and actual reality. To do this, he proposed two different criteria. Basically, the head-mounted display, or HMD, has to transmit a realistic simulation to the user's eyes, and it also must have a computer to keep that simulation in real time. In the 1970s and 1980s, there were some advancements to this. In 1977, the Center glove, or the first power glove, was invented, and this glove allowed the user to interact with the 3D environment through simple hand gestures. In the mid-1980s, there were high processing computers that allowed for better simulations. Now, the field didn't have an official name until 1987, when Jared Liner coined the term virtual reality. Now, there were several attempts in the 90s to try to put this in the main consumer base. Some notable examples were the Sega VR glasses and the Nintendo Virtual Boy. Both of them failed to technological and software problems. However, where the video game industry failed, the movie industry succeeded by having the big blockbuster film The Matrix in 1999 introduce the idea of virtual reality to the masses. And now Melvin is going to talk about the current VR systems as we know today.
Thank you, Chris. I'm going to be talking about current developments in the Oculus Rift, which includes a 1080 OLED screen, which stands for Organic Light Emitting Diodes, and it has a 75 hertz processing speed, 960 by 180 pixels per eye, and it uses an HDMI and USB cable, including an accelerometer, gyroscope, and a magnetometer. Those are sensors in order to enhance the user's experience. And it uses current virtual reality games or Sound Off, Lucky's Tale, which Sound Off is a kind of like a game that you use to a user can be humming something, and then it matches that humming to a certain color, and it appears on the screen. And Lucky's Tale just enables the user to see a virtual world from the top view. Current developments in the Void includes it builds physical stages in the virtual world, and the user interacts with that, and it includes a dual high density OLED display, quantum dots, which enhance color resolution within the virtual reality game, and super gain inline microphones, which enables the virtual reality user to interact with other people using the void and talk with that person. And it uses THX headphones as well. And current developments also include for the Magic Leap, which hasn't come into existence yet, but it's being supported by Google now for research. And the main focus is augmented reality, which augmented reality is mixing actual reality with virtual reality. And in order to do that, they use a pass-through camera, which projects images into the retina of the person, which enables them to have a harder time distinguishing actual reality from virtual reality because it creates the same neurological effects within the brain to cause that reaction to happen. Future developments include, for the Void, the Rapture Vest and Playroom Gloves. The Rapture Vest enables the user to feel what's going on in the virtual world, in the actual world in reality through the vest. And Playroom Gloves enables the user to be able to pick up objects such as weapons in virtual reality and feel like they have it in actual reality. And Oculus Rift, right now working on efforts towards for future developments, using the Oculus Rift for the workplace instead of just the gaming world. And Magic Leap is the main focus for the future when they actually come out to be focusing on video games, entertainment, and the communications industry. And then I'm going to pass on to my partner John to talk about pros and cons going on for virtual reality.
Thank you, Nelvin. One of the prime benefits to virtual reality is, of course, exploring vast, immersive, and interactive worlds, where you, the user, would be able to move objects that don't actually exist with your hand movements or head movements. This new perspective on looking at different objects and items can help fields like engineering, medical, and education in tackling various complicated problems. Because augmented reality can also be implemented with these virtual reality goggles, such as via the usage of holograms, we can use these holograms to benefit our lives in many several ways, such as making communication, entertainment, and even work seamless and more accessible. Virtual reality helmets will be seen as an all-in-one device of the future, as they'll be able to replace not only our phones, computers, but are now, of course, very outdated watches. However, there is another side to the coin. As you can see, a society influenced by such an amazing technology can become easily addicted and influenced to do heinous things due to anonymity. Because crime in the virtual world is not yet judged by governments, it's very tricky to determine whether someone can be deemed insane for committing acts of, say, pillaging or violence in a virtual space, and then perhaps later on in life they decide to commit that same thing, but in real life. Is that person treated as insane, or are they just simply the result of a crash in social hierarchy affected by virtual reality? For hardware, it's very important that there are no faulty or unscrewed bolts, if you will, present in these virtual reality helmets, for they can result in imbalance and distortion and even nausea to some users through extended periods of usage. Especially for new users, it can be extremely dangerous to operate such equipment due to the fact that there are many wires usually connecting a virtual reality headset to a powerful computer that will allow you to run such complex worlds in high definition. While being fully immersed in these worlds, users have the potential to trip over wires or break equipment, costing them even more money from this already expensive venture. Another ethical issue here is that because it's a new technology, governments, as stated earlier, aren't really sure what to do about heinous things or socially unacceptable behaviors executed in these virtual worlds due to a high presence of anonymity by pretty much any user. There's a huge potential, once again, for industries of engineering, science in general, medical, and education, because virtual reality takes what we already know on a flat 2D surface and brings it into a new perspective for us to explore. Over the coming years, companies and many rich investors will come along and make the technology bigger than ever before, thus perhaps increasing portability, better graphical tuned worlds, and just in general, shorter costs. Once again, it must be kept with caution, however, as governments, when regulating this technology, must be very careful to watch each and every step that virtual reality takes.